Hey there, fam. Just a quick heads up before we dive in. This conversation is for informational purposes only. It's not legal advice, and tuning in doesn't create an attorney-client relationship. If you need legal guidance, be sure to connect with a qualified professional. Now let's get into it. Welcome back to Real Estate Success Partner. I'm your host, Devin Dubuque. Today, we've got returning co-host Rafael Amaro. And hey, we're here to talk about how to have great success in any market. Today, the market is Florida, but I don't think we're just exclusive there. And Rafael, man, you've got a great guest today and a topic we've never covered. Maybe one of those topics that people get a little scared of, but I promise you, we're gonna show you how you can use this to work for you. And Rafael, brother, who did you bring today?
Well, today I have the pleasure to present Nicolle Lafosse. I'm sorry if I butchered her name, but she is one of the youngest, most experts in the area of real estate and crypto. So when you heard those two words, most people would think, okay, how do crypto related to real estate? Oh my goodness, you guys are for this drive here. So we have Nicolle today. So I'm very happy that she's on board with us.
Somebody say crypto. I don't think we're supposed to say that word around here. Nicolle, how did he do with that? Did we get the last name said right? I want to make sure we've got your last name on here.
Close enough. It's a silent E, Lafosse, but Rafael did pretty good.
I like it. Well, welcome to the show, Nicolle. And Nicolle, you do something very interesting. And quite frankly, I'm definitely not the expert here. It is all you. But what do you do specifically? What is your business?
Yeah. So my business is to be the type of attorney that you don't expect to see. Meaning I am an attorney who deals with things that have no solution or apparently have no solution. And then I find a crafty way, a very creative way to work with the existing law and make things happen. Make things happen means deals with cryptocurrency, maybe a real estate intersection with cryptocurrency, NFTs, digital assets, AI, patents, trademarks over AI. So I'm a technology attorney who just happens to be a very creative one in finding solutions for ventures that have never been done before. So oftentimes I have clients tell me, hey, Nicolle, I have this crazy idea, but I don't think it's legal. And I'm like, all right, let's hear it out. What is it? And they tell me. And I say, well, it's not illegal because it's never been done. But it's also not legal because it's never been done. So let's find a way to apply the existing law to this novel idea and make it happen. We don't know what's going to happen because there's no precedent. No one's done it before.
I'm already intrigued with that thought process.
You're a puzzle solver, and because of the fact that you're an attorney, you understand how to make sure that people can take these great ideas and bring them to life without getting in trouble, right? We don't want anybody, hence all the disclaimers on here today, guys, right? At the end of the day, we want to make sure that you're getting great advice, but at the same time, we want to make sure that you're not putting yourself in harm's way or putting Nicolle here in harm's way as well, right? So let's talk about this a little bit, Nicolle. You're in a really interesting line of work, and you're doing things that have never been done before. But how does that work? Let's get at some ideas of some of the things that you're bridging together and making happen.
Right. So currently I'm dealing with a lot of people who are coming from outside the United States and they want to invest in the US, but they cannot take their money away from their home country because of government situations or any other type of personal factor. And their only way to invest elsewhere, meaning in the US, is with their cryptocurrency. So I help them navigate everything that has to do with, immigration status is the first thing, because if you're a foreigner, you have to address that factor as an investor. And then two, you have the second layer of you're a foreign investor with cryptocurrency in the US market that has no clarity as to how to go about investing with crypto. When you get to the part of investing in crypto, when it comes to real estate as a foreigner, there's a set of steps that you need to follow that are not necessarily a list that is published. It's a list of things that have happened before that people have been sanctioned for. So it's like, okay, this has been sanctioned. This is what we're not doing. And this is what we could be doing. So we work into a very creative way of helping you invest that crypto money that you have into real estate. And sometimes if you have several family, because there's entire families that are being relocated into the US, you can buy an asset and tokenize it amongst your family members. And if all of you have $50,000 or $10,000, you can buy a property amongst 10 family members, tokenize it, and then reinvest it.
That's great. So you're taking this money that's not money, but it is money.
It is money when it gets taxed.
That's
So
it.
it is money. That's for
100%. But figuring out how to bridge those gaps to be able to allow for these individuals to purchase things here inside of the United States in ways that just haven't been done before. So this is pretty interesting stuff. And yeah, I want to continue to explore that, but I want to know a little bit about how does one get to this place, right? How did you get into this business, Nicolle, of finding these creative solutions and using your law degree, right, to help folks with this stuff?
So I found myself not fitting within the box of a traditional legal practice. I was hating my job. I hated being an attorney, and I said to myself, this cannot be it. Like after suffering through law school and then doing the bar, this can't be the future of it. At the moment when I started getting curious about NFTs, I was working with a patent and asset company, and NFTs were the hype. Everybody was buying NFTs, a lot of money in the line, but no one knew what was like, why would you pay so much money for a JPEG? Like it didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
And then I started researching the market behavior, like, okay, there's a hype. Okay, fine. Then you're so and so person, and that's why the price of the JPEG is so. JPEG meaning the NFT.
That's right.
But for someone who doesn't understand NFTs, you see it as a JPEG. So why would you pay $10,000, $10 million over a JPEG? I started doing videos at that time, social media videos, TikToks, YouTubes, Instagram, about things that bothered me in the industry that were not being addressed. Risk that people were not seeing when putting so much money in the line, lack of checks and balances, lack of redress. Like what happens if something goes wrong? And this was back in 2020.
Yeah.
Where you got scammed and tough out of luck. But then why would you put yourself in that position?
Right.
And the answer is simple. There is greed. There's greed and there is ambition. Yeah. Ambition because everybody was 10xing.
Yep.
I got myself into I said, okay, I understand it, but I don't know if it's real. I bought an NFT and then I sold it and I made like $2,000 in 5 minutes. And I'm like, okay, all right, this worked. Now let me see if I have it in my wallet. I had it in my wallet. Okay, let me turn it into US dollar to see if it's actual money. It went into my bank account. I saw it. And then I'm like, okay, it's in my bank account. It looks real. Let me go to the ATM. Let me see if I can.
All the stages,
error,
right?
The ATM, that's still not
I see the picture. I see all this happening. What was the NFT? What was the NFT?
It was an Adidas with Bored Apes. Okay. It was the first collaboration that Adidas did with Bored Apes.
Okay.
And, man, it was such a hype. I bought it like $500, and I think I sold it in 5 minutes for like 2,500, something like that.
Wow.
And I'm like, man, how?
Did you say Bored Apes?
So I became a social media attorney like that by just making videos of things that bother me. And like, there is a parallel world happening here. And then people were buying real estate in the metaverse. Why? How? You can't even go into the house.
Right.
And guess what? At that moment, I opened my law practice in the metaverse. And people told me like, how does that even work? I'm like, people do not knock on the door. Like there's no door to knock. I'm like, I get an email notification and then someone's in the neighborhood and then I jump in, I put my Oculus and here we are. We're in a meeting in my metaverse office. That's that I can then lease to other people who want to use my office for conference rooms.
Yeah.
The same happened with mansions. Like, I know that Pitbull did a video in the metaverse from his mansion. Then people wanted to rent his mansion to record their videos. Then people wanted to host parties in Pitbull's house in the metaverse. So he was getting passive income from a real estate that doesn't exist in real life. So what this turned into my head was like, there's a parallel reality. There's a parallel world where an economy with an existing economy without a government. And that is scary.
It is.
So I started to get people picking my brain. Picking my brain became more than my full-time job. And I'm like, okay, this cannot be it. I need to actually work. And
Right. Yeah.
so I took a leap of faith and I resigned to my job. I took 3 months sabbatical just studying the market.
Yeah.
I had a list of acronyms. What is NFT? What is GM? What is WAGMI? And man, it's like learning a new language.
Yeah.
Learning a new language, learning how to be an attorney all over again. Because you cannot practice law like you knew it, like you've been taught in law school. It's like everything is new.
Yeah.
And that's why older attorneys don't do it. Because they have 20, 30 years under their belt. They're not going to start over.
Nope.
So I was in a very strategic and advantageous position, age-wise and time-wise. I
Yeah.
was born in the right time.
Yep.
And then I was an attorney in the right moment too.
Well,
And
you
that's
took
how
the
I
time
got
to figure it out. You know, you
Yes.
took the time to figure it out. And that's the thing is that, you know, most people, you know, they never have the ability to find that success because they don't take the time to walk through the steps and stages to bring their dream to reality. Right. So,
And-
you know, now you get to take, you know, this degree that you have and you've learned that, hey, I don't love law space in the traditional sense.
Mhm.
And you get really intrigued in what's going on in the background, right? And how these are, you know, regulated, unregulated, right? What's really happening back here? And you start really diving down that rabbit hole and you figure it out. And now you figure out how to represent clients to help them have a safe way of managing these assets that some people just really don't understand. Me being what I think, Bradfield, did your head just explode a little bit? I think.
Listen, I mean, I thought that I knew something about NFT and things like that, but hearing her speaking, again, uh, I don't know anything. I'm glad she's here.
Yeah. Well, let's.
Anything anyone tells you within this space, for me, the red flag is when someone tells you you're an expert. You're not.
Yeah.
You're not. This hasn't been in the world for that long. Everybody's learning. You may know a little bit more than I do. I know a little bit less. Maybe I know more about a different subject than you do, but it's impossible for anyone to be an expert in this area.
Uncharted territory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what I see your excitement coming from because you're challenged to find the knowledge and find the legal frame for all this. And
Yeah.
you're speaking, and I can see in your face how much you enjoy in figuring all this out. So that was the reason you were sent to law school to figure this out.
Yeah. Yeah. It
Well,
really drives me.
it's pretty great to be able to follow your dreams, right? You know, at the end of the day. And, you know, the one thing I can see with you, Nicolle, is that, you know, you enjoy the chase, right?
I do.
You enjoy figuring stuff out. And, you know, the path that you've taken here, really interesting. So let's kind of bridge that over. So now you get in there, you start to figure out this industry and how it can work. You giving out great advice. Are you making money from giving this advice? Are you giving this advice for free? Like, how did that work? Like, how did that kind of transition into, I started a business and this is what I do now?
So I love that question because a lot of attorneys don't know how to become an NFT attorney or a crypto attorney, and they think it's something that they have to learn in school. I'm like, this is a made up term. There's no such thing as a crypto attorney. I just call
Right.
myself that because that's what I do.
Yeah.
You don't graduate as a crypto attorney. You're an attorney, period.
Did you go to
And
Harvard for that or?
then, true.
Yeah.
And at first I was not getting paid to give advice, and it was not even advice. It was me trying to put the puzzle pieces together.
Yeah.
Just giving my legal insight of why this thing was an issue. And this is something that I think you had to be an attorney to see it because you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
So there's a notion of a business economy. There's an economy being moved in an underworld that happens to happen in the World Wide Web, but you don't know the legal consequences of it because it's something so new. Even attorneys don't know. And attorneys were afraid of giving advice because of the fear of getting the wrong answer.
Yeah.
And just like there's no experts yet, there's also no wrong answer. To the point of, okay, it could be wrong, but to what extent? Like, tell me why is it wrong? Tell me how to do it right. And if I don't have an answer, and anyone, like not even the government, no legislature, there's no case law, then how do we know it's wrong in the first place if there's no right answer? And that's the approach that I was taking when I started my practice as a crypto attorney. I grew up 5 times as fast as I would have in a normal practice because I had built my network on social media.
That's right. Yeah.
And I didn't realize I was doing that. I was doing that because it triggered something on me that I needed to share. And that allowed me to grow fast. And many attorneys struggle when opening their practices on how do I get my first clients? I already had my clients and I was not even charging them.
Yeah, they were there the whole time. Yeah, well, you got to think about that, right? You know, you're out there, you're in uncharted territories, and you're speaking about something that has a lot of interest. There's a lot of people that are peaked up, whether they do know and they want to know, you know, how they can utilize those funds and how to keep themselves out of hot water, or whether they have no clue. They look up crypto or they look up NFTs, all of a sudden you pop up, and you know, there you are giving this, you know, this great insight into this underworld and how it works. And of course, they're going to ask you for advice, and you built a community of people that trusted you, right? Because you were just out there doing it, you know, and being an informant, right? This is how this is working. This is what's going on. These are the things people need to be aware of. And so now you're a reliable source, and you are a reliable source, right? So the community's there, right? The consumer base is there. So now we take that consumer base and we turn that into a business opportunity, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So let's talk about that. So what do your clients come to you for? Like, I'm known to do this, right? How do they leverage your what am I looking for, skill set, you know, to use this for purchase of real estate or to invest wisely, right?
Yeah. So the first thing is I need someone who I can trust that doesn't scam me, or someone who is not BSing me, someone who doesn't promise me heaven and earth and then just ghost.
Yeah.
First off, I don't promise you anything. In fact, I tell you, you probably will lose this money. So are you willing to take on the risk? If the answer is no, then this is not your business. This is not the industry you want to be in. If you're willing to take a risk, then let's find a way how to minimize that risk. Because there is risk. So the thing is, we need to be aware that there are measured risks, and then there's you just having not even half a brain and then risking it all without a plan B, or without knowing how, to what extent are you risking your livelihood on this investment. So for instance, when it comes to real estate, I found myself on my earlier years struggling to purchase a real estate. I didn't have the funds. Recent grad, didn't have a job. I mean, I had a job, but it definitely not paid enough to, you know, to buy a real estate.
But you're in South Florida, so
that too, it doesn't help. It doesn't help.
Yeah.
But that feeling that I had transfers into the feeling that a lot of people have, and not necessarily regardless of their age.
Yeah.
Some people they don't have the opportunities, the financial opportunity to purchase a real estate, but they just happen to have a very good shot when it came to crypto. And now they have crypto, but they don't have US dollars, and they don't know how to invest that money. Or you have you have a reduced amount of US dollars, but you want to invest in real estate. You either have to apply for a mortgage. If you apply for a mortgage, you need to have financial resources to back up. If you get approved, and most likely you won't get approved if you don't have enough assets to cover the mortgage.
Right.
So that's a no-go. What's the alternative? Tokenization. Buying real estate with crypto is one. And two, the second one is tokenization. They're two different things. One is buying real estate with crypto, and the other one is tokenizing an asset that you already have and dividing that asset into several tokens that people will invest. This is a traditional form of investment. Just like if you would buy a house, let's say a house with 8 rooms. You buy it between 8 people. Traditionally, US dollar, nothing new. 8 people own the title. So you split the price between 8 people. But when you tokenize an asset, take into account that each one of those 8 sections of the house are tokens. And those tokens are a proof of ownership that you own that eighth part of the real estate. Now, that real estate is owned by an LLC that happens to be a DAO, decentralized autonomous organization, which means that no one is a shot caller. The decision has to be unanimous to either sell, invest, rent, whatever you want. But what this allows you to do is you don't have to go through a mortgage. You don't have to go through a bank. You just buy the real estate with crypto. You then tokenize it. And we're talking about 8 people investing into one property. So this is the answer for investing into real estate if you don't have enough funds, but you see the potential in that asset. And you know that within the collaboration, you can make something bigger than that one house divided in 8 parts. This is what crypto does. It allows you to have access to real estate when the US dollar does not allow you to do so. That's one part. The second part is, if you invest in the metaverse, in real estate, metaverse is a virtual reality that you cannot touch. You can only see through either a goggle or on the screen. What happens with this? It's cheaper to buy property in the real estate when it comes to the metaverse. Simple reason is not in the real world.
Right.
As simple as it gets. Now, it works, prices work just like it works in real estate in real life. It depends who your neighbor is, that's the price of the parcel. If you're next to Pitbull, it's going to cost you more than if you're next to me. I'm a nobody. No one cares about being my neighbor. No one cares about being next to my law firm. And the rationale behind it is there's more traffic of people walking in front of Pitbull's house, in front of any famous person's house, than they would if they walked in front of my office. So when people in the metaverse walk in front of Pitbull's house and then they see your house, it happens to be a very nice house, they'll say, oh, well, I cannot rent Pitbull's house, but I want to host a party in Nicole's spa location that is right next to Pitbull. Let me rent it out. So you have 2 things. You have an investment that is cheaper than in real estate in real life, and then you have passive income that doesn't need a plumber. It doesn't need maintenance. It doesn't need HOA. And now you're receiving a passive income that you can then turn it into US dollars. So this is the reality that we're seeing now. We're seeing more access to an economy that didn't exist before. But you need to understand.
And we don't pay taxes on the metaverse.
You do pay taxes over the crypto, over the value of the crypto. It didn't used to be that way back in 2020, but now it is. And now with the new administration, I think today is, March 7 today, we are having a crypto summit in the White House. And there is there are key players getting into that summit. There is Kraken, there is Binance, the CEO of Coinbase is there, and many other big players. So I can bet that after the summit is done, taxes will be something that you will have to pay. We're already paying. You still have to pay taxes over your crypto. But it hasn't been clear cut as to how we're addressing that and how it's being addressed in the metaverse too. Plus, you can be sexually assaulted in the metaverse too. Aside from the real estate talk here, things that we couldn't conceive as something tangible, they are tangible. People get sexually assaulted and there have been lawsuits for sexual assault in the metaverse.
Wow.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't have to make sense. That's the point. You just need to understand how it works.
Yeah. So basically, just to kind of run that back, what I heard is, you put on your goggles, right, or your Oculus, and you're walking into this metaverse, which I haven't done. So this is all very new to me, right? And so effectively, you can purchase real estate with real money via crypto inside of the metaverse, right? And so now, if you're purchasing that real estate, and let's just say that you're planted next to a superstar like Pitbull, and somebody can't rent Pitbull's house inside of the metaverse, they can rent yours, and it's close enough in proximity. Now you can actually receive passive income, just like you would do if you purchased a rental property inside of the real world, right? And you had somebody come rent that property, and now you're receiving income, and that's consistent and reoccurring. And so now you're building wealth on a property inside of the metaverse, right? That you can now transition into capital that could be used in the real world to purchase and invest.
Exactly. And there's a third layer to it. You can have a digital twin of your real life asset. Meaning, if you have a very cool house, something that it has to be a house, it doesn't have to, but it helps that it's a very unique house in the real world. And you have a digital twin, you can rent both at the same time. You can have passive income from the metaverse real estate house that it happens to be a digital twin of the real in life house. So now you have two sources of passive income.
Very
And you can
interesting.
even tokenize the real estate in real life. And if you tokenize, that means every person who owns a token of that house can rent their portion of their token off. Does that make sense?
This is very fascinating.
So it's a rabbit hole.
It is a rabbit hole, for sure.
It just gets deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, right? And if you're sitting on this podcast listening in right now, or if you're joining us, on the video and getting a chance to meet Nicolle live and face to face, your brain's probably exploding unless you've been in this world, right? And there's people out there that understand exactly what you're talking about. They've been living this world. They know this world. They know what's going on. But if you're like the majority of us out there and you don't know this actually exists, it does. And, this is where, Nicolle comes in because, there are things that you need to know to keep yourself out of hot water when you're dealing with real estate, whether it's virtual or on the ground, right? On the physical ground. So this is really great. I didn't know we were going to go here. Raphael had mentioned that he'd seen you speak before, but he didn't go into the detail, right, as to, what it is that you're doing. So this is new for me, and I'm absolutely loving every bit of it because it just introduces us to opportunities that most people don't see, right?
Yeah, we discount those opportunities because we don't understand it. Now with this education here, my goodness, I see so many other opportunities that I never thought that even they were opportunities.
Yeah.
A lot of people within the real estate industry, they don't realize they're leaving money on the table, but just not knowing what's out there. Because this is a new economy. Like my clients are people who were born in the 2000.
Right.
Last time I found myself in a conversation with someone who told me, yeah, I was born in 2012. And I'm like, that's like yesterday.
Well,
Right.
like the kids that we met at the TED Talk that we actually met, I
Yes.
mean, I got so surprised, not surprised, actually mesmerized by the fact that how much these kids are able to embrace this new economy, and that's the future. Actually, it's not the future. This is today. This is the present.
No, it's now. It's now and it's your client. And if you don't understand your client's need, competitors are just gonna eat you up. And that's exactly what I did with my practice. I understood the needs of those who were born in the 2000s, whereas other attorneys didn't. They didn't care for because they thought it was something that was trending, that was
Yeah.
transitory. But if you go to Miami to Brickell, you barely see anyone in the office. Everybody's working remote, everybody has a laptop open, and you can bet a good percentage of those individuals are already millionaires because they don't do business the way we knew back in the day.
Just stop at a traffic light. It just happened to me. Just recently, I was telling Devin, I was surrounded for high-end cars. Mine is
Mm,
not a high-end car. It's not a bad car, but I was around the Lambo,
yep.
Ferraris, Rolls Royce, and they are young people, the young crowd. I said, man, you know
Yep.
what? I love what's going on here. And
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
wasn't a speculation. It's just they enjoying their fruit of their labor, their knowledge,
Well, they're figuring out a new opportunity,
economy.
right? And how to capitalize on that. And that's an amazing thing, right? And especially, to see, young people as well as I'm sure there's some older people in there. There's got to be, right?
Oh, there are. There are.
that are
And
figuring out, solutions to, real financial problems through, ways that most people just don't even know that exists, right? I mean,
you
I'll
know,
tell you, you go to my great home state of Kansas and hit any of the small towns, I'd be willing to bet it would be very difficult to have somebody that has any idea that this stuff exists, right?
they touch a very good point there because I feel like it's something that is being adopted globally already, but I'm inside my little bubble. I
Mm,
don't realize how much is there to be learned by like the global economy together. Like Miami is just a hub. It's a place where the
it is.
younger crowds hang out, and that's why I feel everybody knows about it. But like you said, if you go to the northern states, like Ohio, Minnesota, like people don't care. And I would not have a job if I was there at all. Like this conversation would never happen in
Yeah.
Ohio or
Yeah.
Minnesota.
Yeah. Or if it is, it's in a 19-year-old's basement, right? It's parents have no idea, right, what's going on down there, and their kid's worth $500,000 or $1 million, and they have literally no clue, right?
I've had those clients on my back in I think it was 2021. I had a group of kids underage who
Wow.
this is funny. They reach out to me online and then we have a Zoom meeting and I don't do business with anyone unless I see your face online
Yeah.
because I rarely meet anyone in person. We jump into the meeting, I see 4 kids on the Zoom and I'm like, I think I'm in the wrong Zoom. Like, well, are you Nicolle Lafosse? And I'm like, yes, that's me. Oh, we're so and so. I'm like, okay. How old are you? It's like if I thought it was so rude to ask up front, but
Yeah.
they look like 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
And they tell me like 12, 15, 14, and there's one that tells me like 17 and I'll be 18 in 3 months. And I'm like, okay. All right.
I'm almost old enough to do this.
And then I'm like, okay, well, first off, I cannot have a conversation with you unless I have your parents present. Or at least I have the conversation with the 17-year-old in 3 months.
Yeah.
So let's just have a discussion about what is it that you guys are building. And then we can reschedule with your parents present. Long story short, they were crypto millionaires and they lived with their parents and they didn't want to tell their parents they were crypto millionaires, but they didn't know how to cash out because they needed their parents' permission to cash out.
Interesting
the
problem
loophole.
to have.
Yeah.
Very interesting problem to have. Man,
Yes.
God bless America.
Yeah.
And that was an eye-opening moment for me because I realized I never thought I would have underage kids who were millionaires as clients. And that their problem was that they didn't want to tell their parents. It's like, what's going on here?
That's wild. So when we say millionaires too, I am intrigued. How many millions?
I think the company at that moment was worth, I think, $10 million. They had built a video game that was had an NFT component, and the swords and the shields and the things that they had on the video games, they were all NFTs that could be traded or sold. So it was like a play to earn
Completely real economy.
Yeah. So they designed the game, they sold the NFTs, traded the NFTs, and the NFTs was that. So it was a business within a business.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what is surprising is they didn't know how to manage a business. They knew how to build a video game because they played it.
That's
So
it.
they knew what the consumer wanted because it's what they wanted in the video game. It's pretty much building the game that I would like to play. And that's their market. They understand their market. Just like we're talking here today. It's about understanding the market needs of the new economy. That's where the game is.
That's amazing. Well, I can say it now. It's official. My mind's blown. And where was the Oculus and all these virtual worlds? When I was born so many years ago, right?
Well, our parents scolded us for playing video games.
Yeah.
Like it was a waste of time.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll be doing when I get home tonight. I'm going to pop an Oculus on all 3 of the young kids and tell them to get to work.
Let's be like Fortune in the
I'm not
Metaverse.
joking. Yeah.
You could.
Maybe they are. You know what's funny, Nicolle? Maybe
they're already doing it.
Reached out to you, right?
They probably already have the money. You don't even know about it.
They're already loaded. I have no clue.
They could pay off your debts for all that you think.
Well, that's why they say, hey, when I get older, I'm going to get a Bugatti. And I'm like, well, you better do really well for yourself. And I hope you do. But maybe they know something I don't, right?
And a lot of times they do know a lot more than we think.
They do. Yeah, they do.
You have a conversation with them and it's like, what?
No, I know. Well, and that's the power of the internet. That's the power of the virtual world.
Of the new economy.
Yeah, and it's a new economy, but it's just a new game, right, for everybody, and we don't understand it. We were born in a different age, a different era. Nicolle, you took the time to learn it, understand it, and now you're out there giving advice to people that need it, because they do need it, right? They got to make sure that they're able to A, convert those funds and use them in the real world, but B, do it without getting themselves into hot water, right? And that's exactly what you bring to the table, and a whole lot more, right? So,
Yeah.
well, guys, I know we'd love to keep you here all day, Nicolle, because I would continue this rabbit hole. I'd love to learn it all, but 35 minutes is probably about all we got today. So, hey, what did we not tackle today that we should have?
I think we could have tackled on what are the steps to invest in crypto when it comes to real estate. So the first one is make sure you know what the tax implication is when it comes to investing in crypto, because you could be taxed differently than if you invest using US dollars. Sometimes it may not be the thing that you're looking for, and it may not be the best solution. And then two, trust no one. Like, honestly, trust no one. There is a lot of people who talk a lot, and the bigger the words they use, the less trustworthy they are.
Yeah.
People who know what they're doing, they won't BS, they won't talk big words because they know there is a lot at stake. So make sure that if you are investing when it comes to real estate using crypto or dealing with any type of crypto transaction, make sure that your sources are legitimate and that you verify the sources with people that can refer you to that person. Like, say, for instance, in this case, in our podcast today, I met Raphael at a TEDx. Raphael knew you from before, and that's why I'm here. Like, I wouldn't just jump into a podcast, because then it's also my reputation as an attorney.
That's right.
I can't just talk on any podcast.
Yeah.
Because if the podcast is someone who's not reputable, it's my name on the line.
That's right.
And that's the end of my career. Same thing with investment. It could be the end of your livelihood if you make a bad decision with a bad person.
Well, that's expert advice from an expert in an industry that none of us knew existed. And man, Raphael, brother, thank you so much for bringing Nicolle here and connecting those dots. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are going to listen into this and just be mind blown, or some of them are going to go, finally, I've got a solution. I know who I can reach out to that's going to help me, figure out what to do with all this crypto wealth that I have, right? So let's talk about that, Nicolle. So, what market do you serve? Are you in all markets? Are you across the world? Do you work everywhere? Like, how does that work?
I do work everywhere. My market is global. I'm a global crypto speaker. I think my biggest highlights were speaking at VCon last year and then speaking in TEDx about AI, legalities around AI, and crypto investments. So I don't have any clients that I know in person. My clients are usually not within the US, they're global. Some people I meet from YouTube, some people I meet from LinkedIn, TEDx. So it's a very global market, and it's an online market that you need to be. That's why I'm saying, like, verify your sources, because I last week I got a person who I told them I'm not your attorney because I had a bad feeling. They wouldn't jump into the video camera. They give me excuses, and they're like, "Well, we're gonna send you $500,000 for this deal because you're our attorney." I'm like, "No, you're not, because I'm not your attorney." I get that check mailed to my office. What do? I grab the check, take it to Bank of America. I told the teller, this is a fraud check. Do whatever you want with it. I don't have nothing to do with it. And they asked me, what you got it from, blah, blah, blah. And I said, what happened? Like, this person, don't represent them, blah, blah. It's a way of money laundering.
Yeah.
Because they need to show the check went out, that there was a check made that was made to that
Unbelievable.
person. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't just jump into any podcast. I don't just work with anyone that I meet online. I need to verify who they are. And
We need
the
to
things that
get
I
her in Rome.
I'm sorry?
We're going to have to talk to you about Rome. We'll do this offline, but we've got a really great virtual space for meeting people. They can log right in from your website and meet you virtually face to face with the click of a button. So we'll talk about that outside of this. But so when the folks do want to find you today, Nicolle, how do they find you? How do they get in touch with you and get your services?
The easiest way is LinkedIn. Just Google my name, Nicolle Lafosse, and you'll find me there. You can also go into my website, Law and Pixels. you'll see all the areas that I work on, and then you'll see a couple of testimonials in there. So I'm very active in all social media platforms. There is Lafosse underscore law on Instagram. And on X, I have my alter ego. It's called Black Swan.
Right. I like it. I like it. Well, guys, if you're listening in, you just saw that, or I'm sorry, if you're watching, you saw that run right across the bottom of the screen, along with all those disclaimers. So make sure you pay attention to that. We want to keep you guys and Nicolle safe. But if you're listening in and you want to find Nicolle's information, just check right down there in the description at the bottom of the podcast, or Insta, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, wherever you're listening in. You'll find it right there. And make sure that you reach out and get your mind by a true expert. I don't know if we could say it yet in the industry, right? You know, you're the closest it probably gets right now, right? So
I'm on my way to becoming one. Let's put it that way.
on the way.
Very humble, very humble.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this has been just a complete eye opener. Raphael, what about you, brother? Is your mind just blown?
Oh, my mind is blown, and I just want to have 3 more chapters of this podcast with her, so we can, or maybe 3 private sessions. I don't know which one is going to be better.
Yeah.
All right, but if
Well,
anybody,
I talk about a live stream. So, you know, guys, if you're interested in the live stream, you know, comment, you know, down below, because we would love to bring Nicolle back and let you actually pick her brain on, you know, on the show right away. So we've talked about doing that, and I think you guys are also talking about a seminar. Is that right?
that is correct. She was so gracious and so eager to educate people that she agreed to do a seminar with us, okay, in regard on real estate and the relationship between real estate and crypto that we put in it together.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I think also, Rafael, in the seminar, we'll be able to do live Q&A too, right?
We can organize it that way. Actually, the team is structuring that way.
Amazing.
Yep.
That's great. That's great. Well, Raphael, you know, we know you offer loan services, and you're in a few different states as well. You're in Florida, Texas, Georgia. Yeah. And you have access to 37 states across the U.S. Speak 4 languages. So if you're English, Spanish, Portuguese, and Russian, I believe, right?
Oh my goodness, this is podcast gonna get a lot of traction with just you said. The combination of crypto and mortgages and all that.
You know what, man, I'm telling you, if their mind wasn't blown, it just was. And you know, so many great ways to you know, find how to invest your money here and who to work with, right? Just true professionals in the industry. So. Well, Raphael, how do the folks find you, brother, when they want to?
The best way is my cell phone number, 786-333-2592, and in social media at #HelpMortgageNow. Oh, I'm sorry, Mortgage Help Now. That's what it is.
Mortgage Help Now.
You're brave on sharing your phone number. If I do that, my phone would never stop ringing.
You're way cooler
But that's
than
what
Raphael.
I want. I want my phone to keep ringing so we can help the rest of the team that is behind us.
We got a little secret, Nicolle. If he doesn't answer, it transitions to a service that will answer for him. So we've got got ways of handling that traffic, right? There's tricks to our trade. Yeah, because you're right. You can't multiply yourself, right? You know.
Well, I do. That's the thing. I have a lot of scammers.
Yeah.
You know, I have a lot of people.
You got to protect yourself.
Yes, like, and they're getting so sophisticated. I actually had to warn my clients to, if I'm calling to ask for money, know that it's not me. It's never going to happen because with AI, they're stealing your voice to make phone calls, and they sound like you because it's your voice from videos. Especially you running a podcast, they can clone you, have a podcast, and then redraft what you said from another podcast, and then, you know.
Change your words. You know, it's funny you say that. It's not funny, actually. It's not funny. We just had one of the guys that works on our team the other day took one of my videos and he made his own little. He actually took one of my videos, went to ChatGPT, used my chat bot to get it to talk like me, and I might have a sneaker obsession, and had it do this little thing talking about my obsession for sneakers, and then sent it back out to our team. So no question about it. In fact, if you're listening to this and you come over to my personal page, Devin Dubuque, you'll actually be able to watch that video and see not me talking about sneakers because you know, we had a sneaky trick from one of our people. So you're right, guys. If you're listening here and listening to Nicolle, listen well, because you've got to really be protective in today's world, right? You have to make sure that you're talking to people, and you have to make sure it really is them. So, maybe a little secret password to make sure that they know who you are. Man, this has just been super enlightening. Nicolle, seriously, thank you so much for joining us today. And it's just been amazing going down this rabbit hole with you. So
My pleasure.
Well, guys, we're your real estate success partners. And hey, if you want to check us out, you can find us on the Homes Begin Here network. And that network is TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So come check us out over there. If you're on the podcast, it's Real Estate Success Partner. You're probably already here. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and if you want that live stream, and I think you probably do, make sure you comment down there. And if you want to get a hold of Nicolle, which we know you will, click the link. She's going to be very safe and secure, but we're going to make sure that we get you that information that you need. So until the next time, we'll see you then, folks.